We're going to start off at the start. We're going to talk about the SFL League, this new Grassroots Sunday League, the Elite League. That's what I was calling it, right? The Elite League.
Yeah, something along those lines. I think it's an interesting one because I think it's good for not just the YouTube scene, but I think for the better teams in senior Sunday League football to actually compete against each other on a weekly basis. I think there's only good things can come from it. Well, at least at face value, anyways.
Well, you say that, but initially when you heard the teams that are in it, what was your initial thoughts? Because I had my thoughts, but I want to know your thoughts first, innit?
It's interesting.
Don't sit on the fence there, because that's not what I got you here for. Because I know you don't sit on the fence, boy. Don't try that.
Listen, I don't sit on fences, innit? Everyone knows I don't sit on fences. Look, listen, there's a lot of substandard teams in that league. And I think there's a lot of politics involved there. And I think the whole point in this league was to take politics away from where these teams are currently playing. The bookie boards, the congressmen, taking that power are kind of away from them and kind of giving the power back to the clubs themselves, them uniting, coming together and doing something that was actually beneficial for each other. I think that was always the intention when it first started. And I think reality set in that you needed to fill spaces and you needed money and you needed backing and you needed this, that and the other. And I think people started pandering to demand. And I think that demand was to just be in and around the big clubs like Takers and SE Dons and whatnot. So
I'm not going to lie, when I seen it, I wasn't involved in it. I was a bit shocked by the heavy dominance of South London representation, first of all. And then second of all, because I live over this side of the water, I was thinking, where's the West London teams? Where's the North London teams? Like you said, where's Takers? Obviously, we can get into that in a second, but there's so many other teams that could have got involved. Hatch Lane are not involved. Obviously, you know what they've done last season. Baiteze are not involved. You know what they're about. Just so many other different teams. So I was thinking, like, where are these things? Even Palmer's FC, like, the stuff that they've done over the past years. Like, they started basically this whole YouTube Sunday League scene. So I'm like, where are all these teams involved?
do you know I think the bigger clubs were given more say than others. And I think it was a matter where the decision to cherry pick teams was kind of given out in that respect. And that's quite clear for me, to be honest. I think there was some involvement at the very beginning for myself, trying to help with the organisation and trying to structure the league properly. I quickly had to take a step back because it was taking a turn towards something that I didn't back, something that I didn't really support. And now I think that buzz and excitement that was around it at the very beginning, in my opinion, I think it's kind of disappeared a little bit. It's definitely dissipated. There isn't as much attention and as much love and excitement for that division as I think there should have been.
Yeah, because even I think it was SE Don's latest video, they played Saha, one of the teams that are in it, and obviously they're joking, I think. They said, like, who let this team in there?
Chris, is it bad if I ask why they're in this league?
No, it's not.
No, you can't do it. Why are they in this league?
So Saha's one of the teams that are in there, under the radar. I can't remember who else is in there. Like Hacks United's, all of these sorts of teams in there as well. And some of them, I'll be honest, like, you don't really know them too well. Like, I would have thought it would make sense to either have teams from all parts of London, so West, East, South, North, or teams that have won something, like in the prior years, like Takers. They won the Middlesex Cup. Twice, back to back. So it made sense to have them in there. Palmer's, like I said, they've legends in the game, like those sort of teams. Hatch, East London's finest, basically. They won the league last season. Baiteze, the rivalry between SE Dons and Baiteze is like, we've seen that documented so many times. So for me, personally, I was thinking, where's the allure now? Because if you're just going to have a South London league, you might as well just stay where you were.
Yeah, exactly that. I think it's. I think when the league was initially thought of, and this is going back a little while ago, I don't know if you remember, where it actually formulated the idea. Formulated it was on Rootz TV. It was me and you having a conversation, and I said, "Hey, I'm calling people out. If you really want to compete and you want to show everybody who's the real best teams, let's all come together and do our own thing." Yeah. One man was working in the background to actually make that happen. Big respect to him for actually doing that and seeing it through. But the reality is, the best teams are not in that league. Yeah. And that is the reality. And I think that is what kind of takes the shine off of it. Because if you don't have the best of the best, then what are we doing? Yeah. You know, the things that we're doing, you know, we have to make it make sense. And I don't think what we've done ultimately has actually made sense. There are some big teams in there, but all of the big teams, and I would say maybe the biggest or even the best teams, are not actually in there. So, and that's, the facts are facts.
Look, it's going to continue to evolve. It's in its first season, so it's got to start off from somewhere. But if you're going to start off with a bang, especially with all the backlash that it got as well, it got a lot of backlash. I mean, I saw all of the Twitter threads and all the rest of it, it's this breakaway Super League and stuff like that. And if you're going to start off something, do it properly, innit?
Yeah, I think one of the other things is that it came around at the same time as when the Premier League clubs were trying to do their own thing. And it was almost as if it was like, okay, someone's taking a piss here. But it was like, but I think things like that have obviously been in the pipeline for quite a while. And like I said, we spoke about, we're the ones that started this off. We spoke about this maybe 2 years ago. Yeah. Lockdown times, we were talking about doing this. And like I said, it's obviously taken a while to get going. It hasn't banged the way that it should have. We should be seeing highlights of this everywhere. This should be popping up on Sky Sports News. This should be popping up on Channel 4, ITV3, all of the Soccer Saturdays, all of these programmes. We should be seeing these highlights, but we're not seeing that. And the reason why is because the best clubs are not involved, and that's a fact.
Who would you like to see in there?
The best teams.
Name it. Who would you have thought should have been in there?
You know who should have been there.
Who?
You know, man. You know. Listen, you already know. Listen, and I'm not even going to talk about the club that's sentimental to me, which is Takers, because for me, I think we're the best football team out of the lot of them, the best footballing team. But we're also the team that's got the least quality players. And I think that's the big difference between Takers and the other squads, is that Takers definitely played the best football. We're more effective in the way that they've done things. But we didn't have the power man for man that the other teams do, which is what kind of blew everybody's socks away with Takers, which was like, who are these guys for starters? These guys are not amazing footballers, but they're an amazing football team. And I think that's what the attraction was, as well as the sideline antics with Tosin and whatnot.
Listen, on a Sunday, these lot will rattle you. It's pure entertainment. I'll tell you that now for sure. I miss them times, but yeah.
Oh man, entertaining times. But look, I think the best footballing teams are not in that league, and we know who the best footballing teams are. The teams that have won leagues and national championships and back-to-back county cups. Those are the teams, that's the calibre that you want to see in that division. We've not seen that. So look, it is a developing league. It is evolving. I'm not going to bash it completely, because everything that's great has a very small beginning. And this isn't a small beginning, but it's not quite the beginning that we all wanted. However, I would like to think that going into next season, hopefully, maybe even by the season afterwards, the bigger clubs will see, okay, let's try to actually do this. But we have to take the power away from individual clubs and give the power back to the actual league itself, which is the reason why the league was formulated, which is so we can actually govern our own football and say what actually takes place, rather than pandering and giving the rights and the rules and the selection of teams over to certain other clubs, or individuals at other clubs, or individuals that have sway at other clubs. Listen, I don't mind. Listen, I'll start atting people. I don't mind. I'll at people because it don't bother me. It is what it is. But yeah, look, if you want to compete against the best have to be in the division. They're not there at the moment. And I think if there is going to be a reshuffle, certain teams are going to have to step into Division 1 or whatever it is in the Championship, the SPL Championship, and those other clubs will naturally step into the Premier League and we'll actually see it pop.
Who would you like, or in fact, let me rephrase this question, because there's still other leagues obviously existing. What other leagues would you say it's on par with, if not better than? Because you obviously still got the Barnet League, which has still got Highgate, Oakwood, Gower and all those sort of teams there. You still got the league that SC Dons came from as well in the OBDSFL. Yeah. So would you say the league's on par with those, or would you say it's actually better than those leagues now?
It's definitely better than those leagues. If I'm honest, it is definitely better than those leagues. But only when you look at the top 5 clubs. Okay. When you look at the top 5 clubs, you go, okay, I'll watch some of that.
So you're saying like SC Dons, Under the Radar?
Yeah, the Wall, this, that, you go, okay. Yeah, Grand. Like you look at it and go, oh, I'll watch a bit of that. Yeah. But then outside of that, you're going, who are they? Yeah. Where have they come from? Peckham who? Like, or whatever it is. Like, I'm not trying to dig people up, but it's just like, who are they? Why are they just filling spaces? Yeah. I think they would have been better off going with that 5, 6, 7 clubs and going, right, that's what we're going to go with this year, especially if we're going to do it over, I don't know, a fixture every other week or whatever it is. And that, for me, is also another thing, is that if you're going to actually run a league, run it properly.
Yeah, because that's the other thing as well. They play each other once, that's it. So it's just a one-off game. It's not like, oh, we've got a chance to get you back sort of thing, which is a bit odd. I don't know how you feel about that.
Listen, this is where politics comes into play. Because certain men are shook to play certain teams, certainly scared to play them more than once. And certain teams can't field a strong team more than once in a month. And the reason being is because their players ain't their players. Their players play step 3, step 2, step 1. They play for big clubs, they're earning big money. And Sunday League football is like a bolted on extra for them. So certain teams, SE Dons, X, Y, and Z, them teams, they know they can't field their strongest team every week. They can't field their strongest teams every week. And if they've got to come up and play against takers, and they ain't got a big G, and they haven't got this one and that one and that one, they're getting slapped.
Well, you're telling me that they did it themselves, so they're running?
Listen, they're getting slapped. If you ain't got your big players, and you come and turn up against takers, you're getting had. And likewise, if you ain't got your big players and you turn up against rising ballers, or if against SE Dons, whoever it is, but that's the whole point in the competition. Bring your best in, no matter what happens. Whoever you got on the day, bring it. Just bring it. Whatever happens on the day happens. But I think some clubs are so obsessed with their image that they're not prepared to allow themselves to take an L against certain teams, which is why they're even saying, nah, 1 game every 2 weeks or 1 game every 3 weeks, and they might call a game off because so-and-so that plays for step 2 can't make the game because he's carrying an injury, a knock, and this, that, and the other. All of that that's dead. That's not what the scene is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about family-orientated, group-orientated clubs, just groups of people that come together with one common interest, and let's just go and have it on the football pitch. Let's go and do what we do best, the thing that we love the most. And it shouldn't matter whether you've got your very, very best players available on the day or not. And ultimately, if you're a half-decent coach, you're better to deal with that, no? No?
You said it. So, listen, we wish it all the best. We hope it obviously progresses and we see better teams in there as well. But obviously, we've just got to have an opinion on it. Let us know what you think in the comment section below, obviously. But yeah, I'm sure it'll get better, right?
It can't get worse.
It can't get worse.